protesters and community activists in Toronto have long complained that police target young black men for random street checks and a process called carding, collecting personal information on printed index cards for a police database. For years, the complaints and public protests to stop the practice led to no change, until today, with new regulations from the Ontario government.
Simply put, it will end the practice of street checks and carding in Ontario.
The new rules will, for the first time, regulate those informal interactions between police and citizens. Officers will be forbidden from randomly and arbitrarily collecting personal information, required to inform people that talking to police is voluntary, and required to provide a type of receipt for the voluntary stop. Writer and activist Desmond Cole got widespread attention when he wrote about the number of times police stopped and carded him. He says the province is finally listening to the complaints.
When we can talk about this and finally get some acknowledgement that our stories are real and that they need to be heard, that's a great day for me.
Police forces all over Canada perform street checks and collect information from informal encounters. Ontario is believed to be the first jurisdiction to regulate them. The head of the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police says the regulations allow police to still do their job.
Our main concern was we still wanted to have the ability to, if we see somebody acting in a suspicious manner, to stop that person and ask them what they're doing.
To that end, Ontario's regulations include some exceptions to the new rules, including at traffic stops, actual arrests, undercover work, stops for investigations of specific crimes, and, it might seem obvious, but community policing events like this one. Still, some advocates are concerned the exceptions can be abused. Lawyer Andrew McDonald represented a client who won a civil case against police in a carding incident.
The concern I have is whether this is, really an abolishment or just a rebranding of the carding practice.
Activists say they will only be able to determine that once the regulations come into effect next year. Peter?
Ron, the Toronto police alone have carding information from more than 1 million people. What happens to all that?
I did ask the minister that question today. He said pending legislation will lock down that database and make sure any non-conviction police records are never released. Peter?